Into the jungle we go. Sutton Gymnasium was rocking tonight. What a game it was. Kicking it off with the Warriors. Hudson Elsie hits Blake Grimes. Warren goes up 1. Now Owen Riley takes a second to think about it, then buries the 3, tied at 36 in the second. Both teams traded shots throughout. Maybe no one bigger than Jackson Purdue. For Warren tonight, quick trigger on the 3. Another triple. That's Jackson Venom. That puts Warren up 44-42 in the third. The Tigers struggled from 3 tonight, but not here. The freshman Grayson Moat with a big one. Off the turnover, Caleb Tolius puts Warren up by 3 with that layup. Marietta in desperate need of a bucket. Trent McVeigh's got him covered. The lefty on target from deep. Tigers within a point. Into the third quarter, how about the acrobatics from Purdue and 1 to top it off. Now let's go to late in the fourth quarter. Trey Hawkins probing, then getting the shot to fall. He was massive tonight for the Tigers, leading them in scoring. And they lead by 1 here. How about the freshman Grayson Moat again from 3? How about it? 4-point lead for Marietta. Warren not going away. Purdue ties it with the spin move and the lefty lay-in, 62-60 with 90 seconds left. But Marietta would ice it at the free throw line. And the Tigers are moving on to OU and the district semifinals as they beat their rival for a third time this season, 66-60.
We never talked about, are we going to lose, right? Or is there a chance of us losing? It was, how are we going to win this game? And our guys just kind of stuck to it during the timeouts. Super positive, a lot of urgency, but no panic. And there's a big difference between urgency and panic. Everybody stepped up tonight. You know, Trent and McVeigh and Grayson Moat off the bench were absolutely huge. Both ends of the floor, they're all over the place. And they both played their first state tournament game and act like they've been there before.